for Dentist podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Block. Through these podcast episodes, I'll be interviewing dental professionals and companies and aim to inspire, entertain, and educate you on the best tools and technologies out there. My goal is to help make your practice and career more profitable, efficient, and most importantly, more enjoyable. Also, be sure to check out my latest book, Stress-Free Dental Implants, Re-Energize Your Career with Implants, and my first book, The Stress-Free Dentist, Overcome Burnout and Start Loving Dentistry Again. And today we have the pleasure of being joined by Nina Bond. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, Nina Bond is the CEO of Dynamic Dental Solutions. And Nina, where are you zooming in from today?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Awesome. And I want to hear all about just your journey into Dynamic Dental Solutions and just, how you even got involved with dentistry. How did that all happen?
Well, let's go way back. Probably about 21 years now. 21 years ago, I was a young girl, just finished high school. So I hate to date myself there, but so I had an opportunity to learn how to be a dental assistant from a friend who was an older friend because he was retiring from dentistry. He was an old friend that was a dentist. He was retiring and he wanted to teach. He wanted to teach people more about what he did. So he said, "Hey, Nina, do you want to learn how to be a dental assistant?" And I said, "Well, that's interesting. Sure. Why not?" So I started in the dental practice, going all the way back to how to block carve temporaries with acrylic. And I worked my way up. I did go to Harcum College and I did an advanced program there for expanded functions dental assisting. So in Pennsylvania, I live very close to Pennsylvania, and you can do like restorative and prophies and things like that. So I was like, hey, this is really cool. I love what I'm doing. Let me go learn more. So I got my certification, passed my boards and got my license. And I did clinical dentistry for like 10 years doing that. We did a lot of cool cases that I still remember. Big sedation cases where we're doing full mouth resto. It was great. I enjoyed it, but I am the type of person that I like to challenge myself. So I really wanted to do like administrative, and I wanted to learn. We pause.
So Nina, you said that you were an assistant and you had expanded functions in the state of Pennsylvania. Can you actually explain what you could do and what that meant?
Sure. So in the state of Pennsylvania, I could do composite restorations, amalgam restorations, and I could do polishing. So I couldn't do any scaling, but we could definitely polish. So that was a extended skill that I learned at Harcum College. We had a clinic area that we practiced on the dummies. We would place our matrices. We would then do the composite fillings and amalgam fillings. And then we had to have some real world experience and then pass board tests for the state of Pennsylvania. So it's pretty rigorous. Harcum did have an advanced program, which I was very lucky to be accepted. You have to do some initial testing to be accepted to that program. So I really honed in and focused on that for a while. And I really enjoyed doing the restorations. So, for those listeners that don't work in Pennsylvania or have that type of experience, basically the doctor comes in, you guys would do your preps, you would leave them nice and clean for me. I would go in and I would place all of the restorations, articulate and bring it back in, double check, and patient was good to go. So, we did temporaries and, we could pack cord for impressions. there was a lot of different things that expanded functions assistant could do.
But as far as after the restoration with occlusion or the final, using the drill, would that something the dentist had to do?
No, we would take care of that as well. But the dentist would come back and, just finish with checking, almost like an exam. Check and make sure everything looks okay, make sure there's no flash or anything that would cause issues.
Yeah, it's interesting how states differ, because in Massachusetts, that's not allowed.
Oh yeah, there's lots of states that don't allow that. So, example, my home state, Delaware, where I'm calling in from, they don't allow that at all. So I'm pretty lucky to live kind of on the border there, so I could travel into Pennsylvania and work in Pennsylvania.
And then from being an assistant, expanded functions, what created you to start Dynamic Dental Solutions?
So I did get really curious. I'm kind of an overachiever. And I did get really curious about the admin side of the dental office. I kind of wanted to put my hands in all the pots, if you want to say. And I got really curious about how the front desk, what do we do at the front desk? And I got curious about how does this insurance work? Because, as an assistant, sometimes you're presenting treatment plans and you're talking about financials. So I learned all I could about insurance processing. What does that mean? What do they do? How do they do it? I started asking the questions. And same with patient receivables. Same thing. It's like, well, how can we collect more at the front desk before the patient leaves, so we're not doing back end work? So I really transitioned myself into administration because of my curiosity, more or less. I wanted to do something a little bit different. I had the clinical part. I was doing it for a long time. Like, I had it, I could jump in, I could do that, but I wanted to challenge myself. So I started there, and the same thing, I worked my way up until I had these amazing systems where, I could go into a practice, clean up their AR, and it would be like it was just like a well-oiled machine. We would say, okay, front desk duties, they do this, the back end with insurance, we put these systems in place, and the AR was looking fantastic. And the doctor was happy. We start really honing in. I'm a data person too. So I love numbers, and I love looking at data and charts and, percentages and, finding little loopholes here and there. And like the big thing right now that everybody's talking about is what dental insurance companies dropping fees or dropping reimbursements. I think as a community, we could get around that. Let's look at the data. What is the data always tells a story. Numbers don't lie. So, creating a good, I want to say, like, creating something from the data that you have, you can present to an insurance company, or you can present overall and say how this does not make sense. Tell us how this works. And you can't do that if you're not understanding how the revenue cycle works in the practice, and you don't have the system in place.
Now, did Dynamic Dental Solutions start after COVID, where dental offices are really struggling with finding staff? They don't have the time or the resources to do all the services that you do? Or did you actually start this before COVID?
I started this before COVID. Actually, October of 2018. I started Dynamic Dental Solutions, and I started with just me, where I was helping practices create these systems and maintain them or clean up their AR. And from there, we were referred or, offices heard about us from Google. We had our website, and from there, our team has grown, mostly from referral from, clients that have been with us since 2018, 2019, and also some trusted colleagues that I work with, that know that quality of services we deliver.
So I read that your phrase of your company is your revenue recovery partners.
Yes.
Is your goal to help a practice collect, 100%? Is that your goal?
Yes, that's our goal. That's everybody's goal, is they want to collect 100% of what they're producing, right? But that goes back to what I was just talking about, the data and the numbers. Yes, you can collect 100%, but 100% of what? Are you looking at your adjusted production if you're in network with a lot of insurance companies? Tell me, what can we do to increase that? Let's look at it. If you have a messy AR, you have a lot of stuff outstanding, and you don't know what's been happening up until a certain point, a lot of times what we have to do is clean that up and get a clean numbers in your practice management software to understand, could you be making more than what you're making now? Having that, okay, production and then collections equals 100%, it might not equal 100%. So, and that goes into like the AR reports. My whole thing is, everybody loves to see like that fancy zero, that sparkling, dazzling zero. Everybody loves it. They always talk about, I want my aging to have 0 in the 90-day category, 0 in the 60-day bucket. And that's great. Like, I think that's fantastic if it's true that you actually have 0. But let's make sure we're not just closing out claims or writing off balances just because it was denied. Like, are we really focusing on that revenue recovery? Did we do everything we possibly could to get that claim paid for the patient and for the practice? Did we do everything we could to collect from that patient? So, sometimes it's okay to have numbers in those aging buckets. And sometimes that's okay, but as long as you know what's happening. If you have $1,000 in your 60-day, it's like, okay, we have $1,000, but guess what? We're in second level appeal, with the insurance company. We're going to get this claim paid. We're adamant. We're going to be bulldogs about it. And we're going to get this claim paid because the patient deserves that benefit. The doctor diagnosed the treatment, did the work, and the patient deserves that benefit. So we're going to work hard for the patient and the practice.
So everything you just mentioned is something that, as a dentist, not only do I not want to have to deal with, but I want to find a team member to do it. But finding a team member in general is so hard right now. Finding a team member that is really savvy with data and numbers is probably even harder. So outsourcing to a company like yours is almost like, would you say, like adding a team member to the office? Like, you're kind of doing all of the insurance posting, appeals, closing out claims, adjustments, all that stuff that a team member maybe would have done in the past?
Yes. So it is like adding a team member. We truly focus on communication and building partnerships with our clients and understanding their needs, and how our professional abilities and expert abilities can help with those efforts. So we do work with our clients in that type of capacity. At least, like when you're outsourcing to us, that you're getting vetted, experienced people. And we have all of these benchmarks and goals and back end systems where we're being accountable to the practice, just as somebody in the office would be. We do mention, don't think of us as your outsourced vendor. Think of us as your billing department. Think of us as part of your practice, because that's what we're there to do. We're there to help the practice. We're there to help with the revenue cycle. So you can focus on excellent patient care. That's what it really comes down to, is the doctor doing patient treatment the way that doctor wants to, and not focusing on, does insurance cover this, or what's the patient's benefits, and focusing on what the diagnosis should be.
And who are your clients? Is it private practices, is it DSOs? Is it, what would you say is like your perfect client?
Well, we have a mix of clients. We have new doctors that are just opening their practice, and we have DSOs with multi-location. I think it's a perfect mix, to be honest. Really, what we focus on is quality of services. Are we helping this doctor, this DSO, whichever size practice, are we helping them succeed? Are we helping them reach their goals? If they want to scale, say that a new doctor, he just opens his practice and he says, okay, in 5 years, I want to grow this enough so I can open a second location, but I'm only going to do that with your help. All right, let's partner. Let's make that a goal. Let's do that. So really growing into helping a doctor scale up a practice, or a DSO that's looking, at other things. They already have 7 to 10 locations, but maybe they want to focus on, their brand and how they deliver patient care, or they want to centralize their billing department for those 10 locations. And we can help partner with those types of groups as well.
And what's the process like for signing up? Is there a contract involved? Is there like an easy onboarding process? What's that like?
So onboarding is really easy. It's really just 3 steps. You provide us some information about the practice. We get a connection. We set up what we call, a startup meeting or a kickoff meeting of services. That usually is the very easy part. The first month or so of partnering with us, we call it like our implementation period, where we're getting to know you, you're getting to know us, and how we do things. So our contract is set up where when you sign up with us, we are locked in for 90 days, the first 3 months. And what we found is that it is a good period of time where we have the opportunity to learn your practice and how we can help. And we have the opportunity to wow you and say, oh, these guys are our revenue recovery partners. They are looking at all of these things. In that period of time, we could find different things. I'll give you an example. We went in and we were searching claims. We were going through an AR report, and we noticed that, some claims were closed out for scaling and route planning that should have been paid. So we ended up opening them back up, and, yes, their AR grew, but we ended up getting that reimbursement for a previously paid claim. So we do ask for 3 months time. Initially, after that, the contract's month to month.
Now there's other dental billing and revenue recovery services out there. How would you say you kind of set yourself apart from the light companies out there, or the competition?
Well, I think the follow through is key for us. I think there's some companies that just do like the claim follow up, but they just kind of leave it back to the office to do appeals and take it to the next level. And we take it all the way for you. We're going to post for you. It's kind of an all inclusive type of service, instead of kind of piecing the services into different areas. So we're looking to partner with the office and make sure that they're getting value for what we're doing.
And now, what is your offer on deals for dentists for all the dental offices out there?
Yeah, I love this. We really thought about what we wanted to do. I mean, you guys are deals for dentists, so we really wanted to be, give value. We wanted to create a deal that is of value. So we're offering 5% off monthly invoices. So that is the entire time you're a client and work with us. There's no end date to that discount. That is forever. So if someone calls or emails us or schedules a meeting with us directly, they can say, hey, I heard Nina on Dr. Black's podcast and I want my deal. And we'll certainly do that.
Give me that deal. Now, is that,
yes.
is that all 50 states across the whole country? Or there's certain states?
All 50 states across the country. We have clients coast to coast. We work in every state.
Awesome. Two final questions for you. One, how do we find out more? The website, how do we get a hold of you? And then my favorite question for someone like yourself is, what kind of advice would you give to a young entrepreneur or a young dental professional?
So one, how someone can get a hold of us, they can go to our website, ddsdentalbilling.com. They can call us at 888-908-8225, or they can email us at contact@ddsdentalbilling.com. And then for your second question, I would say, being a young entrepreneur, it's really having a thirst for learning and problem solving. That's what being an entrepreneur is. You're solving people's problems. You're taking a skill and you're solving them, and you're making someone else's life easier. That's the ultimate. I mean, that's what a successful entrepreneur does, and they care about what they're doing. They care about the problem and they want to help solve it. So I would say for young entrepreneurs is to focus on that.
That is such great advice, to find a problem out there and then figure out a solution to make other people's lives easier is such great advice. Nina Bond, the CEO of Dynamic Dental Solutions, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it. It was fun.
As always, I hope everyone finds this episode interesting and valuable. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the Deals for Dentists podcast on your favorite podcast platform and our weekly newsletter so you don't miss any of our upcoming shows. And if you're a dental company and interested in becoming a partner and want us to help you reach over 30,000 dentists nationwide, please email info@dealsfordentists.com.